So as you can see, we have been quite busy in the yard already with our second project. We have done 2 other ones already. We accomplished the fence in the back that we talked about and the garage, and I'll show you both of those at the end of this video. But as you can see, the shed is now completely gone. We have worked every night after work trying to get this thing dismantled carefully so we could salvage wood that we could use to lessen the cost on this, but also just we didn't have so much waste. Now the area is pretty cleaned up. All the debris that we're not going to be using is up front, and we're going to be taking that to the dump rather than doing one of the bags that you would put out by the side of the road. So that should help cut our cost there, because I believe it's a one-time dump fee for like $40–45, whereas one of the big tarp bags, I think I was told it was somewhere around about $150 for them to come and pick it up and take it away. I don't know if that's because they need a certain truck to get that, but I didn't want to pay that. If you can hear the lawnmower, I'm sorry, Rob is up front starting to mow the front yard. But as you can see, we are left with 2 4x4s and a header, and that is because we're going to be extending the front up. Let me show you the plan. So luckily I have a cousin who does AutoCAD and was able to come up with our plans for us, and he is also a general contractor, so I can trust that the stuff that I needed was right here on paper. But he was nice enough to come up with the whole idea of what it's going to be. So I'm gonna step out of frame here to make sure that you're getting everything. So first and foremost, this is the front of the greenhouse. There are modifications that were being made here. To cut costs, we are going to eliminate this one section. Then we're going to recenter these 2 windows over these 3. The reason was because we were adding quite a bit just between the 2x6s. That was getting quite expensive. And this is still roughly good, still plenty of room in here. This is about 16 foot long, and in total depth, it will be about 12 foot deep. So this wall will house our wall unit furnace and a outdoor spigot that we'll have so we can get water to the back of the yard. And then this will be a large window in it. This is the entrance side, so this will be our French door that will lead you into the greenhouse, and another set of windows to match the other side. And then this is the back, which will be a solid wall again. And then he was nice enough to give us exactly from point to point to point how far apart all of our 4x4s should be. So I'm going to pop a picture on the screen. This was the inspiration photo for this. When I came across this picture a couple years back, I knew exactly that was the greenhouse I wanted. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do the windows along the triangle section. I don't know what you want to call it, the lean-to part on the uppers on the sides, just because that would require a lot of custom cut glass, and that's just really not in the budget. We're really trying to make sure that we get a cost-effective greenhouse using materials that we already have on hand, cutting consumption costs from the stores, and just have it functional. We're still up in the air as far as the roof, considering the front of the greenhouse leans is at the highest point is facing south. The lowest end does face north, so it's not exactly the way the greenhouse should be, but it will provide enough light to get plants overwintered. That's the main thing, and then starting seeds as well. So we're not sure if we're going to go with the polycarbonate on top or if we're just going to go ahead with a shingled roof. That way, if I was to do any videos inside there and it was on a rainy day, at least the shingles would muffle some of the sound and we could insulate, keeping the heat in, cutting the cost. Whereas if we did polycarbonate, it does allow some more ambient light in, which would be fine, but it would also expel heat rather quick. It does have a tendency to yellow over time. Within about, I think, 5 to 8 years, you start seeing the yellow, if not already increased to yellow. And then you would have to replace it in the long run. So I'm thinking a shingled type of roof would be best. For being able to video in there. Also, it's going to provide some shade on the back end, so during the summer, if I'm doing any potting up, the temperature will be a little bit less in there, and for shade loving plants, I can tuck them in the back to get them over winter as well. We have spent the last couple days getting the floor leveled. We did go out a little bit on each side and on the fronts just to overcompensate before we start putting the post in, and that's because we're doing a couple inches of pea gravel underneath the benches up front, and then as you walk in we'll be doing a paver stone area in front of the workbench area. If you can see off to my left here, my left, your right, you'll see that white concrete looking thing. That's actually a concrete sink that I was able to score off of Marketplace for free. Now the base did not come with it. That's fine because I'm going to build it in with the countertops as well. So we did some laying out, and I'm going to take you over to show you kind of what we're thinking as far as inside. Okay, so standing inside the greenhouse right now, this board represents about how far it's going to be going out. And then this green post right here, well, stake, is actually showing how deep we are thinking the bench is going to be. We did end up cutting down the 4x4s that originally held the shed up, flush with the ground, and then slightly below, so that when we bring in paving sand, those will be completely covered up and then be level with the ground. And then we're going to be using a product which cuts everything in half as far as building materials and such. And what it does is it holds in your gravel so that it does not create ruts and such like that in your driveway. But they also have the one that's about 2 inches tall that is meant for pathways and such like that. So you'll be able to put paver stones right on top of it. So we're going to be doing that in the entire greenhouse. And then, so like I said, gravel will be in here, and then a paver paver stepping stones will be in the back under and in front of the countertops, so that I have a nice easy area to work from, I guess. And then I'm going to put a memory foam pad under there. That's one thing I wanted to remember to put in the greenhouse, because regardless if it's pea gravel or concrete or whatever the case may be, standing on that for a long term is just kind of harsh on your body. I work in a warehouse as is, so that's one thing I have learned. So what we're thinking is, because this green stake right here actually represents how far out the depth of the countertop would be. And then I have some uppers here that I actually scored on Marketplace as well. And I have a couple more inside that I'm thinking about maybe bringing in here, unless I do open shelves, which could be a possibility. So the counters will be open underneath so that I can store seed trays, extra pots, and other items like that. The sink will be within here somewhere. And then the opening over here from the greenhouse behind the door will be where we hang all of our shovels and everyday use garden equipment that can be flat up against the wall on hooks. I'm also thinking to optimize the amount of growing space and for sun, putting up on this wall a series of not so deep shelves, maybe no more than like 14 inches deep along this one, and then up above in the section that we have the upper windows of running a shelf up there, and that would house stuff that I don't necessarily have to water as often, just because they'll be somewhat out of reach but still can get up to them. I want to make 2 benches that will be on wheels. That way I can pull them out to access getting into the windows, to be able to open them up during the summer and stuff like that if I'm working on stuff inside, and to be able to get up on top of that. This may be oriented in a different way where I have multiple tables, whereas instead of doing one really long, deep one. So that's kind of where we're at now. We're going to be starting the next process of putting the posts in and then starting to build this. So if you guys are excited to see how this greenhouse comes about, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video for me, and comment down below what your favorite part, or maybe some ideas or some helpful hints that you might have along the way, that if you've built your own greenhouse, because this is the first time we're building a structure. And frankly, I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited because I'm learning a new skill here. And of course, I've got 2 cousins, and my best friend's dad is is also a general contractor, and they do this stuff for a living. So I'll be able to have hands on deck at any time, if call wise, to get some help. But it's really exciting. After finally, this is going to be our 4th season, but I've been praying to have a greenhouse pretty much my entire gardening hobby here. So at least for the last 3 years, it's been a possibility, and I've been anxiously awaiting. So I just wanted to show you real quick the fence before we end this video. We did get it up. Now this is about 4 foot here on this wall, and then it's about another 6 foot there. So we have 10 foot of clearance. It is level with their ground, so when they're walking by, they can't see in the backyard, which is absolutely awesome. It's giving me very European vibes, because I kind of see this type of thing going on over in a lot of their gardens as far as all their walls. So I don't mind it as much. So we're gonna wait for it to dry out here in the next couple months, and then we're gonna get it painted black like the rest of it, and then it'll completely disappear. So let's go see what the garage looks like. Subscribe. Can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye.